The last bar on Maya's phone disappeared just as the car turned off the main highway and onto the dirt road. She cursed under her breath and shoved the useless thing back into her pocket. "Relax," said Tom from behind the wheel, his voice too cheerful for her liking. "We're almost there." "Almost where?" Maya asked, glancing out the window at the dense wall of trees. The forest looked endless, the kind of place that swallowed sunlight and sound alike. "You said this was just a shortcut." "It is," Tom said with a grin. "Cuts like 30 minutes off. Trust me, I've done it before." From the backseat, Jenna snorted. Famous last words. Maya didn't laugh. Something about this road felt wrong. It was narrow and uneven, with deep grooves carved into the dirt like claws had dragged through it. The deeper they went, the darker it seemed to get, even though the sun was still high. "How far until we hit the main road again?" Maya asked, her tone sharper than she intended. Tom didn't answer right away. He squinted at the GPS mounted on the dashboard. The map showed nothing but gray beyond the little blue arrow. "No signal?" Jenna asked, leaning forward. Tom shrugged. "Just lost it a second ago." "Turn back," Maya said immediately. "Now." Tom rolled his eyes. "Seriously, it's just a road. Don't freak out." But she was already freaking out. Every instinct screamed that they didn't belong here. The trees grew taller and thicker, their trunks gnarled, bark dark and slick like wet stone. Branches arched overhead, blotting out the sky until it felt like night. The only light came from the car's weak high beams slicing through the shadows. Then Maya heard it, soft, almost too soft to notice. Someone whispered her name. "Maya." She whipped her head toward Jenna. "Did you?" Jenna looked at her blankly. "What? You didn't hear that?" Maya's voice trembled. "Hear what?" Tom chuckled nervously. "You're hearing things." But then it came again. "Maya, come closer." This time Jenna stiffened. "Okay. What the hell was that?" Before Tom could answer, something darted across the road ahead. A shape, low to the ground, fast. He slammed on the brakes. The car skidded to a stop, gravel spraying. "What was that?" Jenna shouted. Tom gripped the wheel, knuckles white. "Deer, I think." But Maya had seen it clearly in the split second before it vanished into the trees. It wasn't a deer. It was a person, crawling on all fours, and smiling. The three of them sat frozen for a long moment, the silence pressing in from every direction. The forest seemed to hold its breath. "Not a deer," Maya whispered finally. Tom forced a laugh that didn't sound right. "Then what was it? A bear? A coyote? Did that look like a coyote to you?" Jenna snapped. Her hands gripped the seat in front of her. "That thing was... No. No way." Maya opened the door. "What are you doing?" Tom barked. "I saw where it went," Maya said, her voice tight. "We need to make sure it's not, I don't know, a person." Tom leaned across the seat and grabbed her arm. "No, stay in the car." But she was already stepping out. The air outside was damp and cold, smelling of moss and something metallic. The sound of the engine idling behind her felt like the only thing tethering her to the real world. "Maya," Jenna hissed. "Get back in." Maya ignored her and walked toward the edge of the trees. Her shoes sank into soft earth. The forest loomed like a living wall, shadows shifting between the trunks. And then she heard it again. "Maya." Closer this time. She froze, every muscle locking tight. The whisper came from deep inside the trees. It wasn't just her name anymore. It was laughter. Childlike, high-pitched, echoing through the dark. She turned to run back to the car, but stopped dead. The car was gone. Not moved. Not rolled forward. Gone. Only tire tracks remained, leading into the trees as if the forest had swallowed it whole. "Tom." Maya's voice cracked. "Jenna, No answer. Her breath came in short bursts now. She pulled out her phone. No signal. Screen black. And then, footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Behind her. She spun around. Nothing. Then she looked down, and saw handprints in the mud. Fresh. Leading away from her. Crawling deeper into the forest. She backed up, heart pounding, until she hit something solid. She turned. A tree. But carved into its bark, still fresh and bleeding sap, were words that made her throat close. Maya came back. Maya stared at the carving, her pulse hammering so hard she felt it in her teeth. The letters were jagged, uneven, like someone had scratched them in a frenzy. Sap dripped down the grooves like blood. She stumbled back, nearly tripping over a root. Her breath clouded in the cold air. Behind her, the footsteps returned. Closer. Slow, dragging, crunching in the damp earth. She spun again. Still nothing. But the forest didn't feel empty. It felt crowded, like hundreds of unseen eyes watched from the shadows. Maya. The whisper came again, curling through the trees like smoke. Softer now, almost coaxing. You left us. Her throat tightened. Who's there? She shouted, her voice breaking. Laughter answered her. Not one voice. Many. High, thin, brittle like glass cracking. And then the laughter cut off. Replaced by a sound that froze her blood. Jenna's scream. It tore through the forest, distant but sharp, ending in a choked gasp. Jenna. Maya bolted toward the sound, branches clawing at her arms, roots snagging her shoes. The trees blurred past as the scream echoed again, closer this time, then silenced. She burst into a small clearing. Empty. No Jenna. No Tom. Only the car, sitting perfectly still in the middle of the clearing like it had never vanished. But something was wrong. The windows were fogged from the inside. And through the glass, she saw movement. Slow. Wrong. She approached cautiously, each step heavier than the last. Her breath trembled as she reached the driver's side and wiped a streak through the condensation. Tom sat in the seat, smiling. His eyes were wide, unblinking, pupils blown so large they swallowed the color. Maya, he said calmly. Too calmly. Get in. We have to go. Her stomach turned. Everything in her screamed to run. Where's Jenna? She demanded. Tom tilted his head slightly. She's in the forest now. What does that mean? She heard her name, he said simply, like that explained everything. Then he leaned closer to the glass, his smile stretching too wide. Don't you hear yours? Maya staggered back, and from the trees behind her, the whisper came again. Maya, come home. Maya backed away from the car, shaking her head. No, she whispered to herself. No, this isn't real. But the forest didn't care. The forest pressed in closer, branches swaying though there was no wind. Shadows crawled at the edges of her vision, bending and twitching like they were alive. Tom opened the car door slowly, the creak echoing through the silence. He stepped out barefoot, his shoes gone, his clothes damp with something dark. His smile never faltered. You need to stop fighting, he said, voice flat. It's easier that way. What did you do to Jenna? Maya's voice cracked. Tom tilted his head, listening to something only he could hear. Then he whispered, she's part of it now. Just like I am. Just like you will be. He stepped closer, bare feet squelching in the mud. Maya turned and ran. Branches whipped her face as she plunged into the forest. Her lungs burned. She didn't care. She had to get away. She had to. A figure stepped out in front of her. Jenna. Her head hung low, hair plastered to her face with rain, or was it rain? Her arms dangled at her sides, skin pale, fingernails broken. When she lifted her head, Maya's breath caught. Her eyes were gone. Just empty, black holes. And her mouth. Oh God, her mouth, stretched impossibly wide, tearing at the corners, a grin carved into her skin. Maya, Jenna rasped. Her voice was layered now, dozens of voices speaking at once through her lips. You shouldn't have come back. Maya stumbled backward, screaming, but hands shot from the darkness and grabbed her ankles. Cold, clammy hands, pulling her down into the mud. She kicked wildly, tearing free, and scrambled to her feet. But more hands were reaching now. Dozens, maybe hundreds. From the earth, from the roots, from the shadows. All clutching, grasping, pulling. She ran blindly until she saw a flicker of light ahead, a lantern swinging from a crooked post. A sign hung above it, swaying gently. Welcome home, Maya. And standing beneath it, waiting, was a figure. Tall, thin, skin like bark, its face hollow except for a mouth full of teeth too sharp, too many. It whispered without moving its lips. Maya, we've been waiting for you. Maya froze beneath the swaying lantern, her heart pounding so hard it drowned out everything else. The creature didn't move. It just stood there, tall and skeletal, its bark-like skin creaking softly with each unnatural breath. Her voice barely left her throat. What do you want from me? The thing tilted its head slowly, like it was curious. Then came the whisper again. Dozens of voices overlapping, some sounding like Jenna, some like Tom, and some like people she didn't know at all. We want what you promised. I never promised anything, Maya screamed, backing away. Her foot caught on a root, sending her crashing to the ground. The hands were back, grabbing, clutching, dragging her down into the damp earth. She clawed at the mud, fingernails breaking as she fought to stay above ground. The creature took one long step forward. Then another. Its hollow face leaned closer, and for the first time, Maya saw what was inside its mouth. Not just teeth. Faces. Dozens of tiny faces, pressed into the flesh, mouths moving silently, screaming in agony. She sobbed, thrashing wildly. Please, please, let me go. The whispers filled her head until she thought her skull would crack. You left us. You said you'd come back. We waited. We always wait. And then the memories slammed into her like a freight train. The camping trip. She was 10. Her parents fighting, not paying attention. She wandered off. She heard voices calling her name. The forest promising games, safety, belonging. She ran home instead, but the forest never forgot. Tears streamed down her face. I was just a kid, she choked. I didn't know. But you came back, the voices hissed. The creature's arms stretched unnaturally long, wrapping around her like roots constricting a tree. Now you belong to us. Maya's scream ripped through the trees as she was pulled beneath the earth. Mud filled her mouth, her lungs, her ears. The last thing she saw was the lantern swinging above her, its dim light growing smaller and smaller until there was nothing but black. Dash dash dash. When the search teams came 2 weeks later, they found the car abandoned in the middle of the road. The doors wide open, the engine cold, no sign of Maya, Tom, or Jenna. Just a single carving on a tree near the clearing. Welcome home. And if you listen closely on windless nights, they say you can still hear voices in that forest. Whispering names.